All right, everybody, welcome in. We are here with another edition of our semifinals coaches interviews we've been doing all over the state here this week. And we're going to stop in now in Geraldine, Alabama with head coach Michael Davis, and his Bulldogs is about to face Madison Academy with a shot at a state championship on the line. Coach, first of all, thank you for having us out here. We always enjoy coming out here. You guys have had a tremendous season this year. I've said it, I don't know, countless number of times. I think you've had one bad half of football that I've seen, and it don't matter about that bad half of football. What matters is when you get in the playoffs, what you do with it. And here you are on the eve of a state championship game if you can get this win over Madison Academy. And I believe it's the first time Geraldine's been in a semifinal game since 2000. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. And only the second time in school history.
Second time in school history. Well, Coach, let's rewind the clock. I've done this with all the coaches we've interviewed this week. Just take us back to this off season, and you guys had some tremendous amount of success. Last season, you beat Mars Hill. You ended up ultimately losing in the playoffs in the third round. But just take us back from that moment to now and get us caught up.
Yep. So we're sitting in this room. At this point last year, the season got pushed forward a week, so we were done 2 weeks prior to this, and we reflected on the season and ultimately ran out of gas. We won the first round game, won the second round game. Kids were an emotional high, when we go into Sylvania, and they were fortunate enough to move on, and we got beat. And we reflected on ourselves and asked ourselves, how can we get past the hump? We thought we did that last year. Our kids expect to win. They expect to win, and from a physical standpoint, they understood. From a mental standpoint, they understood. But I think the biggest deal is, what do we do throughout the year from a mental health standpoint, from a physical health standpoint, that can give us an edge? And we've kind of ran away with that. We've did a better job of nutrition and just things like that, taking care of our bodies, changing some practice plans and things like that. And I think it's really made a big difference in keeping guys healthy. And I think there's a key to success to playing 15 games. I don't think you can go out there and bang heads at practice for 3 hours. So we've cut practice time down. We've been more efficient. We film every practice. We teach all film, and just trying to get our guys ready to play on Friday nights.
There's always a juggling act of how much contact should we have. If we don't have enough, we're not going to tackle good. If we have too much, we're risking injury. How do you go about judging that yourself?
You kind of know, and you can just reflect on. You can see it in the kids and their body language throughout practice and things like that. And then you tackle well on Fridays, or you not tackle well on Fridays. And sometimes it's when you look at it, is it because we're not tackling well because there's an exceptional athlete over there? How do you simulate that speed at practice? So we try to get our guys, running full speed, tagging off on the hip and things like that, because we see some really fast teams week in and week out, and just trying to simulate, situations at practice.
You said something 2 weeks ago on the final drive when I talked to you about it's no mystery why we're winning games in the playoffs and games in general is these teams up here on this mountain plays a physical brand of football. And this week, I'm sure you're expecting to do the same. Talk about that. What breeds into these teams up here on this mountain? Geraldine obviously is a good example of it, but the physicality that you guys bring to the field each and every Friday night.
I think it starts with just instilling mental toughness and discipline. I feel like you can't be, as an individual, you cannot be physically tough if you're not mentally tough. Mentally, you have to prepare yourself. If I'm going to go up here and be physical with another opponent, mentally, I have to be prepared for that contact. So it starts in the off season, getting these guys mentally tough on little things. It may be as small as, hey, getting up at 6 a.m. just to come up here and work out. It's not the fact of coming up here and working out. It's being disciplined enough to get yourself up to get up here and work out. That's being mentally tough. It's not just coming in here doing mat drills and board drills and everything. It's everything. There's a combination of things to build mental toughness. And I think if you're mentally tough, then you have the ability to be physically tough, but you can't do it without being mentally tough.
That's how the Navy SEALs weed people out. What they're doing is physically tough, but they said the number one thing they like to challenge is the mental aspect of it. If you can overcome that and mentally be prepared for anything, and well, in their case, including death, then there's nothing to stop you. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, but we live in a society where it's not always, that don't grow on trees anymore. It's a lot tougher than what it used to be.
It does not.
Let's talk about this matchup this weekend. You know, we've seen how good Madison Academy is. You know, they beat Sylvania last week in a very good football game. And the first round of the playoffs, you know, we saw what they did to a pretty good Hoax Bluff team. They were up 57-7 at one point on them. So they're a dangerous team. They've been good for years. Then they hit a lull, so to speak, and now they're back up to what, you know, their expectations is. But what have you seen from them personally?
Very athletic, well-coached group. Coach Godsey and their whole staff do a really good job with their program, and they're very, very fast, very fast. You know, they're a prestigious program. They expect to win. They do some really good things there. These kids, they expect to win, and you see it week in and week out. They've found a way. It's not always pretty the last 2 weeks, but they've found a way to win the game, you know, ultimately. And they went out through the regular season and dominated, you know, week in and week out. And the good thing about this is, you know, when you get in the playoffs, you don't really know anything about teams, but as you get deeper, you have familiar opponents and you kind of gauge some things off of that and talk to different people. But, you know, at this point in the year, I think just both teams are so excited just to play and just to survive another week. And, you know, playing in December, you know, it's crazy, but I know they're excited about it and we're excited about it and we're ready for Friday.
It's gonna be a war. I know that. It's like a Rocky bout. You know, there's gonna be some blows given. There's gonna be some blows received. So we're looking forward to that. Coach, just turning the all eyes and your knowledge and everything inward on Geraldine. What does Geraldine have to do to be successful?
Number one, be physical, be disciplined, and don't do the things that are gonna shoot us in the foot. You know, we can't turn the ball over. We can't get behind the chains. We have to be able to tackle extremely well and get all guys of the football and be well, you know, play a really good game in all three phases of the game, special teams, defense, offense, and eliminate their possessions. If we do that, we'll be just fine.
Coach, I've seen you play multiple times this year, and your special teams is something that I want to commend because each time I've seen you special teams play, you guys have done a phenomenal job. Just how important in these playoffs is it to have good special teams?
It is. You know, week 2, we get the opening kickoff the second half. We go all the way down. We had a penalty, but we had an opportunity for a field goal, and we missed. We missed the field goal, and I thought that was a big part. And I really thought if we could have gotten that field goal and went up 2 possessions, we really felt good about finishing Gordo off there. But they're a really good team. They continued to fight, and Coach Smith does a really good job there. But this last week, we had opportunities for 2 field goals. One was before half, and we hit it. It was a 47-yard field goal, and we hit it before half. And
that's a weapon, buddy.
It was, and we went into half, you know, up by 12 points, which is a 2-possession game against Lauderdale County, which is a big deal against them.
You get that right.
So it gave us a little momentum going in there. So it really gives you an opportunity to get some momentum swings before half, or, you know, things like that when they're, you know, you don't necessarily have to score a touchdown, but if you have an opportunity before half to get some points, it really gives us a good chance.
Momentum, and it makes them score twice coming out. So, yeah, and with your defense and the way you guys can move the football and control it, that's also makes it a tougher task for them. Well, Coach, before we shut this video down, we got to talk about this. Your crowd is always there. It don't matter. You guys could play on the moon, and they're going to be getting tickets to the moon.
You got that right.
Talk about this community right here and how important it is for them not only to show up and show out, which we know they're going to do. It don't matter, you know, where you play, but how special it's been to have these guys along for the ride during all this.
You know, and it starts with our parents. Our parents of the kids that are in this program, they know that this coaching staff loves them, and they allow us to coach them. They allow us to coach their tails off. If we have 5 a.m. workouts, they're going to be here. They're going to make sure there'll be a line of cars dropping their kids off. They hold them accountable. They allow them to be coached really, really hard. if I was at home at 10 o'clock and said, hey, we got practice at 10 o'clock, they would show up and bring them out here. You know, that's
awesome.
That's a testament to them and the way they hold them accountable. And there's a lot of selfless that goes along in this community, and they just love football. They love this school. They love this community. And our parents are really good. They allow us to coach their kids, and I think that's why they play extremely hard. And our community feels like they're part of it. You know, we're all in this together, and we're going to go as far as we can together. And they're on the ship, and when we get off and we get on that island, we're going to burn the ship and leave it, and we're going to stay on that island.
That's it. Napoleon. Burn the boats.
That's it. We're going to burn the boats, as Coach Jones says as well.
That's it. Well, Coach, we're going to shut this down. Good luck to you guys Friday night, and looks like we may have some rain, so that's always a factor. But you guys do what you know to do, and I know you're going to represent this place well, and you got a great shot, Coach.
Absolutely.
Good luck to
appreciate
you
you having
guys.
us on, Bo. Thank you.
Absolutely.